Temptation. Just hearing the word brings uncomfortableness to Catholics everywhere. Many times I'll have people even come to confession and confess, Father, I was tempted or I had bad thoughts. They'll say, well, being tempted and having bad thoughts is actually not bad. But this word temptation and its role in our lives is so misunderstood that, even Pope Francis recently thought of changing the Our Father prayer to reword the whole lead us not into temptation part. Rather than change the Our Father, maybe we could try to understand it a little bit better. In our first reading today from Mass, St. James tells us that, God tempts no one. So that's good to keep in mind right there. Temptation in and of itself is not a good, but it's also not a pure evil. God would never allow something that was evil, but he does tolerate temptation. Now, if we're being tempted away from God to not love God, well, that's obviously a bad thing. But I might look at temptation a little bit differently here, as testing is also a good kind of word for it. And really, if we want to grow, if we want to get better, well, we have to have something that pushes us, some kind of thing that is a force that moves us. There's the law of inertia that objects at rest tend to stay at rest unless some exterior force acts upon them. Well, temptation can often be that exterior force that acts upon us. It's a little chance to see, how's my love of God doing? Is God first? Am I tempted away from God? I think of athletes a lot. We've got, the Olympics going on and things like that. Not that I'm watching because it's in China, but we look at these athletes like the Super Bowl or World Series things. Look at all they do to train. We see just all the sports that our kids are playing. Look at all the sacrifices we're willing to make. Well, I think of, like, especially training the body, like to get stronger. Exercise physiologists actually say that, like, lifting weights, it actually kind of tears the muscles. There are micro tears in the muscle so that it can expand and get bigger and stronger. That's how muscles grow, literally by, well, being ripped, stretched, and then they grow back bigger and stronger. I would contend that that's the kind of image of temptation we ought to have. A little bit painful, sure, but in the end, if we don't give in to the temptation, if we learn to stand against it, and particularly to rely on God in moments of weakness, now we're getting stronger in our love of God. And even more than just getting stronger, this idea of testing. If you're an athlete, or even, let's say, a debate or a scholars bowl like I did in high school, you want to test yourself against the best. That's why the Olympics is a good thing. You want to get all the best athletes from around the whole world and say, who is the best of the best? If you want to be good, well, you want to test yourself to see, how good am I? If you never compete with people that are better than you, you're never going to get better, and you won't really know how good you are. You might just accept that, wow, I'm pretty good because I'm competing on just a level that's too low for me. Temptation is a chance from God to step it up a level, to maybe recognize, "Oh, I thought I was doing pretty good, but wow, look at how I responded to that temptation. I didn't do very well there. My love of God needs exercise, needs a little work." Perhaps another way to think about this, so that we don't get discouraged about temptation, is to think of a video game. That was something that would appeal more to the younger people here. But in a video game, there are often different levels. You play one level, you beat all the bad guys, and for your reward, you get promoted to the next level, where there are more bad guys and more obstacles and things to overcome. I would say that the spiritual life is a bit like that. Say you're doing good. You're beating off the temptation that's coming. You're choosing God. Maybe you're even taking on penance and fasting, getting to mass, increasing your prayer life. Great. You are rocking it. That is awesome. But God wants to say, let's take it up a notch. And so you go to the next level, and all of a sudden things get harder. And the tendency is to want to panic and say, what's wrong? What happened? I used to be so good, and now I can't handle it. It's not that you're not good. It's actually the opposite. It's actually that you're so good that you've beat everything below you. Now you're just on to the next level. You were on, level 3, and now you've fought and fought. You've gone through temptation, and you're on, like, level 40. Good for you. So if temptation comes today, just see it as a little test to grow, to measure where you're at, and then be thankful. There can be good temptations if they help you grow in your love of God. I hope that's what you get today. Maybe even excitations from those good temptations. And God bless you.